Arlyn is on the brink of upheaval. For centuries, the clan struggled against giants until 400 years ago, when dragons crossed the Great Sea, forcing them to unite and build the 10 Bastions. As the threat faded, the clans fractured into the 10 Kingdoms, and all but the last Bastion were abandoned. As ancient calamities stir and darkness rises in the east, my 4 champions must rise up to unite the kingdoms, restore the Bastions, uncover their secrets, and stand against this darkness as a declaration of war.
Calagon Dör. I will discover the secrets of my lineage and cement my legacy as one of the greatest adventurers of all time.
Please stay in here. The migration of the dragons forced the migration of peoples and beasts, which brings death. We're all invasive species now. I won't let us become extinct ones.
The name's Rodrick Elwood, the voice of this generation, and the greatest performer in lore. Oh, and you should see me with a bow.
And I, Arlyn Dursalai, searching for my father's sword, Trident, to bring justice to these lands. Together, we are the 4 Horsemen.
And this is Divine Inspiration.
Welcome back. I don't think I like how that one started.
That was a weird one.
Welcome back, guys. Oh man, yeah, these get weirder every time. I don't know how, but somehow these guys managed to keep me on my toes. So, honestly, I'm just happy to be alive right now, given how last session ended.
Yep.
And the fact is, the players here at this table didn't kill me for the exciting adventure that we had. So let's talk about that. Why don't you guys gather around, get cozy, and enjoy as we tell stories of legend by Divine Inspiration. Last week, before almost getting murdered, our party went through the sands and met up with a small orc caravan, if you will, led by a man named Coltran. Coltran, along with his hobgoblin right hand that he pulled from the cavernous rift system that they just previously come from, and a series of other orcs, decided that they were going to stop to have a conversation with the 4 Horsemen. However, Coltran, after a few different attempts of steering them elsewhere, decided that it was instead time to take action against them. After kicking over one of their mounts, along with specifically Arlyn and Calagon, Coltran challenged these 2 to a fight, 1 versus 2. The 4 decided to accept this challenge, but not without interfering just a little bit. After a series of blows back and forth, of which I gotta say the players really made me proud, because I do want to point out for a moment the moves that you guys threw in here of Calagon firing off, specifically disarming Coltran of his magical seeming blade that seemed to harness sands to extend his reach, as well as throwing down the ever-smoking bottle to clear out the line of sight. Rodrick then going to mysteriously cover up said weapon. Cleave with a very interesting impromptu near hanging of Coltran by tying the lead around his neck and then sending him off into the desert with what was it, 2? Was it 2, 3? I never remember the difference, honestly. It's taken some work here. And then Arlyn with a
about
near
how hard my body fell to the ground.
Yeah.
Multiple
with
times.
being able to, get back up multiple times. No, but you had a very, very exciting combo that I can't wait to see put into practice now. But pushing it further and further until his lightning took on just pure darkness at this point, finally. Now, fighting harder and harder, eventually, 3 out of the 4 horsemen went down, with Arlyn, Calagon, and Cleave being abducted by Coltron and taken very, very quickly down now toward the southwest, where he would originally been traveling to, leaving Rodrick with 2 and a very bloody but very much still alive 3, along with Barry. And that is where we're going to pick up today. Rodrick, after sensing this unique surge of power start to take over and push you to new heights, absorbing energy now for the first time from outside of your own body, you can still feel the adrenaline rushing through your body as you now look on, and having just sent Barry off to go scout after them and track the other 3 horsemen, you eventually see as he slowly just fades from view, and you can see now 3, the Sandwalker, just kind of slowly rides up to you and starts kind of nudging you, and you can hear the kind of like muffled grunts and moans as you just hear.
I'm gonna start frantically looking through the saddles of both of the Sandwalkers to see if there were any leftover good berries, maybe that were stuffed into any pockets.
Okay. You can see very quickly that Cleave had unfortunately expended the remainder of his good berries during that previous fight, or I believe just before it. Actually,
No, I didn't even get to use any of that today. It was,
Oh,
it was all
really?
water. I only
It was
made
all water?
today.
Dang, that's rough. That's rough. And unfortunately, the best that you can find are a series of different like cloth scraps, a few smaller blades and things of the sort, but nothing of any significant help in the medical ways.
I'm
A
gonna
lot of
go up
blades,
to.
actually, really big blades. I got a lot of weapons in my satchels there, but
I'm gonna go up to 3 and I'm gonna say, 3. You still with me? You can't. We'll need somebody to be able to carry the men when we find them. I'm gonna kind of smack him and see if he can get up and stop.
You can see that he kind of like, almost like in pain, just kind of jumps off to the side and starts like almost tripping over the front of what you could closest call a hoof, as he kind of like eventually just like pushes himself back up.
He has
Just
an
kinda-
open wound specifically because the orc stabbed him, right?
Stabbed him, yeah.
I'd like to take off the rest of my left sleeve
Okay.
and create a tourniquet on his wound.
Nice. Okay. Tourniquet would be fairly difficult given how wide he is around, but you could definitely kind of like stuff it and stop the bleeding.
Okay, I'll do that.
So that's not the worst, and he is very clearly in pain, but surprisingly, after very little time spent together, doesn't seem to attack you.
Don't worry, old pal. You'll be good as new once I can get this to stop. I'm like kind of going in a frenzy, just seeing like the amounts of blood, and then I'm gonna also look down and notice like the blood that's all over my hands from when I was trying to stab that orc in the face.
true.
And I'm gonna like kind of like not fully black out, but like have everything kind of start crashing in on me at the same time, kind of like mid panic attack.
Wow. Okay. Just kind of forcing your way and just losing focus for a moment. You just start to zone out and eventually hear the grunts die down as slowly over time you realize it's just been your hand over top the wound now for a slightly more extended period of time than you'd initially intended. And just kind of slowly catching your breath finally after a moment. And you can see now that the winds are starting to pick back up and sands are starting to kick up, and you look around for a moment and you can see where just south of you now you can see where the black smoke starts to give way to the bottle, and you can see where there's this smoke being regularly produced and just blowing westward away from the bottle that you can now see within the sand.
I'm gonna check on 3 if Cleave's chains are on him. Anywhere. Stuffed anywhere.
Cleave, would you have kept them on yourself? Or... Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and get the chain, and I'm gonna tie 2 and 3 together,
Nice.
and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna need you to just keep up, 3, please. With time, things will get better, I promise. But we have to make our way in order to save the guys. Barry! Do I see him anywhere?
He's very, very far off in the distance currently. And just...
Do I see in which way he is flying?
yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna get on
It's
2,
like-
and I'm gonna hip, and I'm gonna start taking them in that direction at a reasonable enough speed where 3 isn't getting dragged, but with haste.
Okay, cool. It takes some time, and you can see that 3 is starting to kind of like, almost like instinctively limp at first, until he can catch stride, and he almost feels like, okay, you can see that his limbs aren't injured, but he is hurting, clearly. And you're able to take off. Barry, you noticed, kind of vanished from sight for a time, but after a moment you're able to see where he is, just as a small speck off in the distance, as obviously not much time has passed. And you can see now where he's clearly tracking, and you can see just flying overhead, just watching as you had previously commanded. And without fail, yeah, you start trucking it now southwestward as the day continues on. The dunes are obviously a hindrance to your sight, but on occasion you do get glimpse just past where Barry is of where this orc caravan, if you will, is actually riding, and they are going fast. So
Okay.
do you want to try to maintain full speed to keep up as closely as possible? Do you wanna
I
trail
can't
further behind?
lose them. So I'd want to maintain enough speed to where I can see the direction in which they're going, but not. I don't need to see them clearly. I just need to see the direction in which they're going. Or if Barry is following them from above, I can at least see where Barry is, so I can follow Barry.
Cool. Okay. Then with that, just go ahead and make a perception check.
I approve.
14.
14? Okay. Yeah. It's not very difficult then to track along as you're starting towards this journey. It is, however, going to be a long and arduous journey, obviously, just trying to book it through the desert sands. I will say make a survival check at advantage because you are following in their path. However, it is still possible to run into some issues, depending.
13?
13? Okay. Reasonable enough. So, over the course of the next few hours now, just alone and isolated, stuck now with just 2, 3 in your own thoughts, you find that the sun continues on, starting to push further into the day, and eventually you see that Barry starts circling for a moment and starts heading back towards you. And as he dives down, you can see now that he kind of flashes some imagery into your mind, where you can see now a small band of jackals seems to be within the general path.
Is that jackals?
Jackals. And as you look on further, you can see now that these orcs were seemingly throwing small bits of meat to them so that they could stay in that path specifically.
Oh, wow. Wow. Smart. Perhaps I take the longer route. Barry, can you keep watch from above and just make sure that you keep me en route, but we'll have to get around these jackals somehow.
Flies back off.
And I'm gonna veer off to the right.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Cool. Easy enough. Then as you start to kind of fade off the track a little bit, you start seeing as those trail marks, if you will, from their sled, we'll call it for the time being, continue on in one direction, and you start to kind of head on closer northward. And you're now following a little bit more with where the sands are actually flowing. It's easy now to see better elsewhere, but looking back now southward towards them, they start to get a little bit foggier every time you go, and you get a good little sight of them. Looking up at Barry, however, you notice he starts following a little bit towards that north side as well, steering right as well, to make sure that he's always within sight. I'll say, because it's a long trip, make 2 more perception checks for me.
Okay. 20
Fantastic.
and 16.
Was it a natural 20?
No, it was a dirty 20.
Okay. Still really darn good then. And you said a 16?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, man. Okay. Go ahead and make 2 more survival checks, both at advantage. Perfect.
Five and 10.
5 and 10. Okay. Alright. Then, as you truck through these sands, pushing further and further forward, Barry now way, way beyond earshot. You can still see where he's at, and you're able to follow fairly easily, I'll say. There comes a time where you know that 3, unfortunately, starts to tire out, and with a quick glance, you're able to look around, and you see where there's this massive stone that's kind of hollowed out, if you will. It almost looks like it was kind of carved down in almost like a crescent shape, and you can see where there's water in it. And as you start looking that way, you notice that 3 starts veering towards it as well, looking to just kind of quench his thirst. But as 3 starts to veer a little bit closer to it, you can feel a light trembling in the earth. Would you like... I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Make 1 final perception check.
$14.
14. Okay. Then you would be able to get the general sense that, believe it or not, this spider is directly underneath, right where the sandwalker just came from. As you now look back and you see these little hairy leg ends start to poke out from behind you.
Kill it. Sorry.
And you can see now as the sands start shifting just slightly, allowing those legs to poke through, just shimmering lightly in the setting sun.
And that's by 3?
It's just behind where he is, essentially. Allow me to reveal that for you.
There it is.
Okay. I am going to...
You can tell that he is, unfortunately, starting to tire and slow. And he will need a break sometime soon, at the very least.
Holy moly.
Sacrifice.
Okay. I am going to... a small desert animal. A jackal. Okay. I'm going to minor illusion a jackal closer to the spider than the sandwalker.
Okay.
As I'm going to try to slowly hush them away from the direction of the spider.
Make either an Arcana or a Deception check. Your call.
I thought you were
Definitely
going to
deception.
sing to it for a second.
13.
13. As you start to do so, just kind of alternating sounds, light, gentle images, you start to watch as slowly the sands start to shift again lower, and you can notice a slight ripple in the sands leading directly towards that jackal.
Okay. We have a small window of time. Come on, two. Get away. I'm gonna kind of like start spurring him, but with no spurs.
Okay. Alrighty. Are you just gonna head directly back out towards the caravan again then? Or are you gonna stop rest? Or are you gonna try to gather yourself, make camp? Or you got plenty of options technically, but
I'm going to. I don't want to veer too far off, so I'm going to go closer to the direction to get away from the spider.
Okay.
And then I'll make camp, and I'll have them go underground, and I'm gonna put on Osmanthis's mask, and I'm going to start digging into the ground, and I'm going to put my whole body into the ground except for my head. At which point I'm gonna minor illusion a small cactus on my head.
Okay.
Actually, sand. I learned camels eat cacti, and I feel like there would have been an issue there.
That is why I gave sandwalkers beaks, because I saw how camels eat those things, and I was like, that's terrifying. They should have harder faces.
Yeah.
So, great choice. Great change.
I realized I'm like, my head's definitely going to get eaten by something.
Yeah, literally the sandwalkers.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. I was like, oh, great way to just take some quick damage.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Make a stealth check. At advantage due to the hidden nature.
Not 20? 23?
This guy. Okay.
Heavy hitter.
Let's go.
Great perception. Great stealth. The survival led to a not so great encounter, but that was easily dealt with. So, very well done. As you now see Barry start to circle overhead, and you can see as he eventually just kind of fades from view for a moment as light vanishes to darkness all around. And after some time, you see the small figure of the flapping dragon overhead, just kind of silhouetted by the moonlight. And as you look on, you see Barry come down from the clouds. And as he dives down, you look up and you realize that shadow didn't change.
Oh, it's not Barry.
It is not. And you feel terror coming from Barry, along with curiosity.
I'm going to speak from the sand mound that my head currently is, through the mask, and go, Barry, if you don't make your way down here right now, Barry! Barry!
Okay. Barry just kind of circles down and eventually lands, and you can feel as he presses against you, he's shaking. And you can see now, not quite clearly, but the very similar form of what appears to be a dragon flying well overhead.
No way.
Wow. Did you? Okay. How close is Barry to the dragon?
He landed now. He's
landed?
with you. He's with you, pressed against you, like hidden partially under the sand mound that you've falsified here.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna stay looking at it, and I'm gonna ask Barry. Barry, did you get close?
And you get the sense that he was too afraid.
You made a right choice, Barry.
He's kind of questioning, like, if you want him to. You can kind of tell that, like, shaking, he starts to stand upright.
Absolutely not. The last thing that I need is for me to be alone, and unfortunately, there's only 2 horsemen now, and you're one of them. So, I need you to stay close and be my eyes. And frankly, You can't be my eyes if you're in the belly of a beast.
And he just kind of nods, and he kind of like pokes his nose to your forehead, and as he does so, you get these like flashes of images again, as you can now see that the orcs have also made camp further, just maybe a couple miles away from where you currently are.
What does their camp look like in the images?
It's one large kind of octagonal tent with a massive hole in the middle, and you can see that they always have 2 orcs standing guard. You also see that while traveling there, it seems that the orcs were feeding your companions something within a bottle.
So they were eating.
They were putting something. They were feeding these 3 something.
But did they seem alive
Generally, yes.
or unconscious?
Unconscious, for sure.
Okay. So I then technically can't tell.
You could tell that they were trying to feed them something down their mouths, so it's within reason to say that they're alive, but not active.
All right.
Sounds like Lord of the Rings.
Barry, the only way that I could do anything is if I rest. So, are you well rested, Barry? You're tired too. Okay. Then, how long do you need to sleep for?
You get the sense, and especially through your own experience, that it's similar to what you would rest.
Okay. And at least they're leaving tracks. They are leaving tracks. Alright, Barry, then. We stay here, we rest together, so that beast up in the skies doesn't see us. And then, come the morning, we'll wake up and we'll be back on our way.
Okay. And so, as comfortably as you can possibly manage, buried neck deep in the sands of Gracht, you slowly start to drift away, and you can feel as your neck begins aching, just starting to kind of bob one way and the next, eventually kind of resting on the filter forward of the mask itself, and kind of leaned partially against Barry. You can eventually find yourself asleep. And over time, you wake to a sound. A sharp, shrill. As Barry, now pecking at the visor, starts to wake you again come morning. And he kind of does like a little dance to show like he's ready to go.
Alright. Sleep was nice. The only time I didn't have to worry. Alright, we'll be on our way. Barry, have you checked the surroundings yet? Or have you just woken? Go up. Check the surroundings, see if they're still in camp.
As he takes to the skies, it's only a moment before he comes right back down to you, and you can immediately tell that they've already left for the morning.
Are there tracks?
And he takes back off to try to go find some.
Okay, as he's flying, I'm going to dig myself out of the hole. I'm going to dig myself out of the hole, and I'm going to get the sandwalkers back up. I'm going to inspect the wound of 3.
Okay.
Make sure that it hasn't started becoming infected.
Make an intelligence check.
11.
11.
Very smart. 11.
Okay. For whatever reason, it seems to have healed surprisingly well.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
All right.
As you inspect and you start to kind of gather your things, get everything out of the sand, eventually Barry makes his way back, And while very, very distant already, at full speed, you can tell now that Barry seems to have caught track of where the others have gone.
All right, we continue.
Okay.
Go back to the sky. I'll be in tow.
Alrighty. Nick, make one more perception check for Barry. And David,
6.
go ahead and make 2 more survival checks.
David's got better rolls than me.
First one is 20. Second one is 4.
Okay. Fantastic.
Wait, are they at advantage?
Yes, yes they are.
Is mine?
Sick.
Is-
Actually, yes, he has advantage on perception checks.
20 and 20.
9.
Oh, that's good.
Sheesh.
20 and 20.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll your die.
This has been the one that's been doing well for me.
Let me see.
As long as you don't grab one of mine.
20. No, I'm just kidding.
Hilarious. All right.
Rolled an 8.
As you now take off, you can tell that Barry has just kind of tried to stay on track to the best of his ability. However, he has zoned in on that thing and not really considered your well-being for the most part. What you instead notice during your trek is that something seems to have been following the caravan all along. And you now make out a series of tracks.
Animalistic in any way?
8 legs in total. All almost just look like pegs down into the ground.
Oh, so a spider.
Oh my god.
I see.
Interesting that it would feel the need to travel on land, though, and not through the sand.
And not a spider.
Okay.
Ooh, an octopus.
I was gonna say no. It's a 20 survival. You get a pretty good sense of the general lay of what this is, and it definitely seems to be an arachnid of some sort. But you realize that there's a slight difference in how some of these legs look on occasion, and you realize that there's a slight drag to them, and that it is an unusual moving giant scorpion.
Oh, wow.
As it seems to have been in full attack, trying its best to grab people off of their sled at some point. You see now the signs of battle, where you can see some of those shards of kind of grayish black stones that they had fired off, that they used to knock Cleave unconscious previously, are now kind of scattered as shrapnel in the sand. And you see where there's like a small trail of kind of deepened kind of... You know what? I'm blanking. Joel, would you remind me what color Cleave's blood is?
You know, moments ago,
Is it green?
I wrote down
I think it was like a dark green.
underneath all the skin color, eye color, everything else, I wrote blood green with a question mark. That's what I wrote.
Okay.
It is green because
I'm pretty
Rodrick
sure
thought that he was infected when
Yep.
he lifted his shirt.
I was trying to remember exactly what it was.
dark
Yeah, that was like a session 0
Yeah.
concept. They were like, yeah, why wouldn't it
Long
be?
time ago.
We didn't check
Sure.
the tapes. I was writing that moments ago. I was just writing that.
Incredible. And you can see now where there is some green blood specifically splashed in the sand.
Okay. Well, this could be the blood of orcs.
But now you know there is definitely a giant scorpion somewhere along this path.
Question. Do
Yes,
I
sir.
see any scorch marks at all on the sand, or any places where the sand has become smooth, almost like a glass consistency?
Following with the survival as kind of like an investigation, I'll say no. And you're fairly confident in this and
Okay.
being able to track as this path has kind of followed along.
Cool. All right, so no fire was used, so Calagon was not a part of this battle. Do I see any, like, shards of wood that would have come from a wooden fence post of any kind?
No. Not from that which you're familiar with Cleave. You do probably see some wood, but it's going to be a much darker, deeper, more polished type of wood.
Okay. Okay, and the tracks continue from the
Oh yeah.
The skirmish?
Yeah, you can tell that they kind of were a bit hectic, but that they didn't seem to stop. The rails continue directly forward.
I'm gonna look back at 3. Does 3 look like he has kind of regained the pep in his step where we can go a little bit faster?
Surprisingly so.
All right, cool. So we're gonna start gunning.
Okay. Again, due to the survival check, I'll tell you, if you head directly along the path, there's a giant scorpion there. Would you like to follow in direct pursuit, Caravan Scorpion U, until you can possibly see direct line of sight to one of them?
Until I can see direct line of sight to the scorpion, sure.
Soon, though.
Okay. Then go ahead and make a perception check for me as you continue on full speed now.
Just a 1, right? Not a
Just 1. Yeah, because you're going full speed.
That would be 10.
10? Okay. I'd say that's good enough given the giant nature of this creature and the previous survival checks. You following through and seeing, you can now see that there are splashes of other blood, not just that greenish blood on occasion. And eventually you see where, as you kind of ride the high of one of these dunes, you pause for just a brief moment as you kind of like push up onto, and you can see overhead where you think you get the glimpse of the caravan far, far off, and you can see now as that scorpion starts to kind of wind off to the kind of south side, down to your left.
So it's leaving the caravan?
Yeah.
Walking away from it?
Yes.
Does the scorpion look bloodied?
You get the sense that that's probably what was bleeding, given the slight pooling at its legs each time you saw.
Have any legs been severed?
Not that you found.
Can I call Barry down?
Absolutely.
Barry!
Takes a moment, but again, he kind of circles back, and now that you've closed the distance a little bit better than before, he's able to come back to you without as much risk.
Okay. Can he show me the images of the tracks that were left from when they departed?
Ah, nice. Okay.
Ask him nicely.
Barry, I need to look into your mind.
That's so sweet.
He starts kind of trailing back, and you get the sense that he would need to get a closer look if you want a better visual. He only got the same sight that you did, but didn't pay as much attention to the scorpion.
Okay. But can I at least see where the scorpion veers off?
Yes.
Are the tracks still 8 pegs?
They are.
Okay, so the scorpion is fully intact then. But I can see in his images at least where the veer off happened, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Does
you
it
definitely
appear
know, avoid the more southern side. You can stay towards the north without any fear, any worry.
Then that's what I plan on doing.
Okay.
I was gonna veer on the opposite direction of where he veered off,
Fantastic.
but stay on their tracks.
Cool. All right. Then it's gonna take some time, but again, having rolled exceptional survival throughout this and good enough perception, all that strikes at you over the course of the next few hours is the corpses of a lot of smaller game, a few coyotes, and a small band of lizard folk.
Okay, smaller game, few coyotes, and a small band of lizard folk.
That's right.
How many?
3.
3. Have I ever? I guess the question would be, have I ever dealt with them in my travels? I dealt with all kinds of people in my travels, because I was trying to capture a crowd constantly. So, what are lizard people typically like? Would I have to roll like a history on that?
They certainly wouldn't be common in any of the regions you're from, but go ahead and roll. I'll say a medicine check to see.
Medicine. Interesting.
Well, I guess it depends. What are you looking to find out about them?
To see if my interaction with them would be automatically met with hostility, or if it could be friendly.
Okay, yeah, that would be history. Go ahead.
You sure you don't want to do medicine?
You could do history or nature.
both equally as bad.
Okay.
6.
6. Yeah. Hard to say. There definitely was some hostility in this interaction, given the fact that they're corpses currently.
Corpses? I don't know how I missed that.
Literally said corpses.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's so funny.
Whether that was from the lizard folk, whether that was from the orc party, hard to say. But they're dead now. You can absolutely choose to take more time to check that out if you like.
I'd like to loot them. Yes.
You'd like to loot them?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, make an investigation check for me.
We could be dying, by the way. Just
13.
wanna throw that out there.
13? Cool.
Yeah, very quick loot. He said they're corpses, so.
They have...
We could be dying.
Yeah.
You've taken a rest and you're looting.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
we're
I'm trying to
like-
get to you.
I honestly, I thought for sure he was gonna jump him in the camp, but this is fun. This is fun. This is
But
perfect.
you guys are being fed.
We don't know. We know he's a timed guy. He's made timers before.
Yes,
and
but
we've
you
almost
guys
lost somebody
but
because of it.
you guys are being fed, which means
this is great.
okay.
Fed a
If,
mysterious liquid.
yes, but if their intention is to kill you, you would not be being fed
Yeah.
at all.
No, I'm with
Poison.
It. I'm with it. I see the
This
vision.
is good. This is good.
So I have a little
Unless
bit of
we're
time.
being brainwashed.
Maybe just keeping us alive till they get to where they're getting to.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to get
just-
to there at the same time, but I need to see what
making our brains
what
mush.
things these creatures
Giving
have
us
that maybe I
stupid
can use
juice.
for bartering, etc.
Cool. Alrighty. You're able to find a series of unique bone weapons. Specifically, each of these 3. One of them is very similar to the paddle that you saw Rumgar use. 2 of them, however, are much more hook-shaped in nature. They also have very kind of ornate, painted like shell shields, each of the 3. And among them, they don't seem to carry much. Small bags of rock, bone, and different other like assorted like stony pellets, as well as 1 vial of poison.
Okay. 1 vial of poison. What were the stony pellets?
They all just seem like small stones of some sort. Just a few bags. Each of them has 1 bag.
Okay, I'll keep those. In bags. Can I see the Hyrule Kingdom from here at all?
It's hard for you to see much of anything from here, but if you give it some time, if you give it like another hour or call back Barry directly, you could definitely get him down.
Okay. Because I'm definitely in the Legend of Zelda right now.
Taking on Los Alphos.
Yeah.
You find 3 tails, 2 horns,
Exactly.
and some guts. All right. Cool. Well then, as you finish looting up, it will take a moment. You start kind of getting back on track, and eventually Barry does come back to you
Okay.
with unfortunate imagery. You can see now that after a few miles, there are a series of different roving bands of goblins now, starting to kind of keep a certain perimeter in check. And you can see now that Barry's been kind of circling overhead, watching, ensuring that none of them are coming directly towards you. And you can see now that they start making a pattern. And they start going in different cycles as though to always maintain some amount of watch over each portion as they track. What would you like to do?
Okay. Did I see any portion that wasn't being covered by their circular watch?
Make a perception check.
Not 20?
Bro.
Ridiculous.
We've just been holding this guy back.
This guy.
Where was this last session?
Yeah, he doesn't
If you did
need
this
it.
last session, you wouldn't need to be doing
We
all
know
this right now.
that he's the strongest of the 4, but we didn't need so much evidence as he breezes through this entire session.
It's like, just give me all your notes.
Yes,
Tristan,
David.
pass over the paper.
Rodrick undoubtedly notices that they happen to be a little off because the goblins are distracted.
Oh, golly.
The northward goblin encampment, there seems to be trouble in paradise, as some of these goblins don't seem to get along within their own band. And they start to argue, and they eventually fall just slightly out of line and out of step, leaving the most direct path, unfortunately, the most accessible.
Okay. That is the path of least resistance. I will take it.
Trying to scare you to like go a different way or something. Got a big old scorpion, got a giant spider.
Go right through them.
You're just like, all right, well, time to just keep on going, I guess. Well, without fail, Rodrick.
The new Mandalorian.
You see now, as the outer posts now have been bypassed, you can start to get closer and closer, and eventually Barry seems to come back to you for good.
Okay.
Having now perched on like oh man, what's the handle part of a saddle called? Anyone know?
Hilt? Oh, saddle.
Sure, good enough. I'll take it.
The knob.
The hilt of the saddle.
The knob.
The knob.
Yeah, maybe a knob.
Little knob.
We'll call that for now.
He kind of perches, standing upright to the best of his ability, dropping all fours on that knob. Somebody's gonna
The
correct
horn.
us. The horn.
Of the saddle.
The horn of the saddle.
Thank you.
The Lizalfo's horn now perched under. And you get fairly clear imagery as you are only moments now away from being able to see yourself. The wall that makes up a massive beachfront goblin city.
A goblin city. Okay.
The first that you've ever seen, and
Beachfront,
the
you said?
first that you've ever
Whoa.
even heard of.
Wow.
This is a full-blown civilization above ground.
Sounds like Miami.
Wow.
In fact, you have done
He
all
just
of the
called the
right
other side of the
things,
table
all of the right
goblins.
perception. You've used very well.
Very well.
Very, very well. I will go ahead and remove the fog of war. As you can see, the better parts of this city, where this encampment has slowly made their way all the way through, and you can now see the most direct line as they have kind of come around this path, and surprisingly not taken every option, as you can now tell that certain paths weren't wide enough for their sled to fit through. But they're able to go back through. You can see the trap set at the base, and you can see that it leads up to where this sled seems to have stopped, which just north of this point is to be determined, to be revealed in a moment.
Okay.
However, on the south side, there are mass encampments still, and you can tell that along the shores are much larger tents, and many more hobgoblins specifically,
Okay.
along with some pretty enormous beasts of burden and some larger creatures, along with what appears to be one entirely massive bird of some sort.
Bird.
A
Okay.
very leathery, ugly bird.
Oh.
Okay. How close am I to the encampment?
About a mile off, but
Okay.
just hidden behind the dunes.
From Barry's imagery, do I see any names, any signage?
None specifically, no.
Okay. The closer I get, once it appears that anybody would be able to see me, or right before anybody would be able to see me from a distance, I am going to transform into a goblin, namely Kipple.
The Destroyer.
And I'm going to start practicing my mannerisms as I get there. So I'm going to grab the chain that is holding 3, and I'm going to look back and go, hey, move along, and start kind of motioning towards them as if I went out to capture more sandwalkers for the encampment, and I am on my way back.
Okay. Then, David, what I would like from you is to make for me first a performance check, followed by a deception check, and then please text me the results.
Okay.
As back on the other end.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
You lot start to wake in a very, very different setting.
Very good, very good.
And let me make sure that everyone can see properly here. Okay. Now, Cleave, you are the first to wake. As you look up and you can see where
Whoa.
there is the all too familiar form of an orc standing just outside of these heavy metal, we'll say just doors. This orc, you can see, is speaking to another orc behind bars.
Okay.
And immediately you recognize that it's Coltran.
At first
And-
I thought he was the one behind bars. I'm like, this is really great. Okay, okay.
He is looking away from you and holding what appears to be 2 plates in his hands. And you can hear kind of the back end of conversation as he kind of drops a plate at the other's feet. And he says, "'Twas a shame. Do not let it go to waste. Please." And the other orc just kind of grunts at him and kicks at this plate that he seems to have dropped at his feet. He turns, shaking his head, and Coltran now brings this plate down, places it at the entry of this gate, and slides it underneath this little trap door. "You said you wanted to follow. You said you wanted Jean. I have brought you. Congratulations, and good luck."
I look across at the other orc, and I say,
Jean? The archaeologist? Is that you?
He just kind of looks your way, turning as he kind of almost gave his back to Coltran. And Coltran starts walking off and eventually vanishes.
ah, dang it.
And the other one, after he leaves, now pipes up. And you can hear as he says, "Not me. The one you are in search of is..." And he kind of motions with his chin. And you can see now where he seems to just point over on the other side of the room, just kind of behind you.
Okay. And do I have openings on other sides of my cage, or is it just...
Yeah, there are
different?
surprisingly 4 doors to your cage
Oh, wow.
here.
Okay.
And you can see
So
that it is gated all around this cell, yeah.
Are there walls in the corners there, or is it all cage? Is it all just
There are corners, but aside from the stone corners, everything else is solid steel,
steel? Okay.
extending
cool.
directly up into the air. There is a small barrel of water here, and everything on the floor is just this kind of dirty, somewhat bloodied hay. in this dark, dark stone chamber.
Okay. And then you then. What's your name? What business have you with Coltrane?
Kind of looks up, almost confused for a moment. Nindal.
What is it?
Nindal.
Nindal.
And you can see it on screen here.
Oh, very good.
And what of yours? How do you know Coltrane?
I'm Cleave, and I thought I'd found an ally in Coltrane, but he turned on me and my allies, attacked us unwarned.
Ooh. Okay. Strong starting line as he now kind of pushes up from his seated position onto his knees, and he grabs hold of the bars in front of him.
Where are you from?
I come from beyond the mountain range in the east. West.
Beyond
A small
the
town
mountain range.
called Usway. Usway village.
I've not heard of this, unfortunately. Are there many orcs?
There were around maybe 100 or more of us there. Not a great many. We were sort of, well, we had been mixed with human blood of that area, and they didn't take kindly to our orcish side. We were kept on the outskirts of the city, a greater human civilization, elves.
And how did you find an ally in Coltrane?
Well, I didn't. We found him out in the desert, and I thought finally I had found another of my own, that I would have another ally. Didn't work out that way.
Makes sense. He's a traitor. As are the rest of them here.
That's the next of what?
As are the rest of them here.
Ah.
Do not trust those who are free within these lands to the south.
Does he carry keys?
Not him. But he does carry information. He was kind enough to let me in on the happenings here.
Forgive me, but... And you can see now as he picks up this belt from beside him and starts kind of tying it around his waist.
How many did you come with?
There were 3 others. Well, I don't know if they're... I look around at that point, see if I recognize any of my allies in any nearby cages.
Make a perception check.
Well, actually, that's not bad. Let's see.
10.
10? It's enough to notice Calagon for sure.
Okay.
You don't quite
Oh, he's been...
see
okay, I see.
Arlyn currently, as he's like largely hidden behind the corner here, where little off angle. But obviously Calagon immediately catching your eye seems to steal precedence there. As Nindal now pipes up again.
Are they strong?
They are. They're worthy fighters. Well,
Makes
in
sense.
different sorts. But yeah.
How
Yourself. If you got hold of our guard with the keys, how would you fare?
I wouldn't suggest testing it in that limit.
A what?
If I got hold of them, then I'd like to believe I could do well. But not here.
He kind of motions over to the side of him. Each of these does something else, and you can see now where he pulls up 2 different vials, one red and one blue. And he gives them a light shake. Says,
One of them helps me to shrink,
one of them to grow. The problem is, if I were to shrink, I would get stomped. And if I were to grow, I would be trapped. They know me well.
But do they run out of time?
Yes.
Can you not shrink small enough to just escape?
I suppose you missed that part of the conversation. Coltron made it very clear that I would not be able to. He seems to have his guards all posted at the outside entrance to the east of here.
Well, I think we could have something of a teamwork scenario if, when my friends wake up, that wouldn't put it out of the scope.
I want to check what do I have? Do I still have my stuff on me mostly? Everything. I imagine not the club and shield.
You have specifically only the club and shield, along
I
with
have my
whatever
pockets full of, like,
armors
just,
you
like,
have.
weird stuff,
But
just,
you
like-
do not have any other personal belongings currently.
Okay. But like I still have my cargo robe.
Yes.
Are we
Situation.
gladiators? Oh,
That'd be
no.
We'll need one more then.
We'll need one more of what? One more thing?
Make a persuasion check given your previous question. I'll say at advantage because you came out with the perfect first statement.
Better. An 11.
11. One more to decide who to take on. There are supposedly 10 total fighters that will be released in the first round.
We're gladiators.
It will be a team match. 5 versus 5.
Whoa.
Oh no.
5 of us will survive.
I see 5 on each side.
5 of us will not.
Very good. The next time somebody comes to feed, this is the plan. I want you to already...
We don't feed.
We don't what?
They don't feed their prisoners here.
What'd you just get?
Same thing that you got. And he kind of motions down at the foot of your cell. We are orcs. Although a traitor in his own right, Coltron has a soft spot for us.
Oh, so we got fed only by him? Okay.
He wasn't kidding when he shared that he was having mercy on you by having brought you here. He's given you an out. He didn't have to tell me what he did, but he kind of leans in a little bit closer to kind of whisper your way. He didn't tell me what he told me so that I would be crippled, but rather so that I would have a chance out of here.
Was I given water?
So that he could have a chance out of here.
No, I said, was I given water?
Yes, there is water in there.
I would like to take the water and water bend it into the lock and then freeze it. And then turn it. See if that works.
Okay. I'll say make an Arcana check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage, come on.
Because
Give me a regular one.
I have a very intimate knowledge of how locks work, and that typically wouldn't work without an exceptional amount of luck or a serious knowledge of, like, raking. So...
Oh boy. Alright, let's see. Oh, I'm not good at Arcana.
What a mage.
Come on. Make it a nature version of Arcana. Can I use wisdom?
It's gonna be
Can I at
Arcana,
least use
just
wisdom?
a
That's my
regular old
spellcasting.
Arcana check here.
Yeah. Alright.
To try to maneuver your abilities in this way and understand them well enough
But
at this point.
Arcana under wisdom instead of intelligence, though? You know what I'm saying?
Just as is,
Yeah, it's a
whatever
7.
basis. A 7?
Alright.
Cool.
Meh.
He looks curiously. We already have a means of escape. If however we can get a head start, I'm not opposed.
Means of escape.
Still.
Now, you won't misunderstand. When they release 5 gladiators to fight 5 more, it will not be us. We're releasing them.
As you start to pipe up a little bit more about this, you can see that the man in the cell to your right now kind of bangs at the gate of his cell. Come on, me next.
You got the spirit I'm looking for. Who are you then?
Name's Bielnik.
Bielnik? Like Nick Bielnky?
Very similarly so, yeah.
Bielnik.
It's my German name, or Russian name. Nikolai Bielnik.
I'm certainly not weak. Come on. See what you can do. I'll get us all out quick.
See,
I
what
just
I'm
need
thinking,
hands on a weapon.
what I'm thinking is this. I'll show you one more of my cards.
And I lean towards him.
Nindal steps forward. Don't waste your energy. It's not worth it now. Come up with a solid plan first. They're not stupid. The place is trapped.
Place is trapped. I am the trap, baby.
I lean over through the bars of that one, and I just go, and I blow a gust strong enough to push a man towards his cage.
I'm thinking, next person to come out and let you out, I'll give him a little blow that way, push him up against your cage, you grab him, and if you've already shrunk by then, we've got 2 men on him. You can disarm, take the keys from that point. Couldn't you, Nindal? That's 3 against 1.
You would have to be very confident in your abilities.
You'd have to be very confident in your abilities. All you have to do, Bielnik, grab hold. Nindal, you take it from there.
There are 3 men chained to a post. Off to the right side. You can see, along with the plaques above their heads, they've been here for some time. They are the ones to release us when the time comes.
They're the ones to release us when the time comes?
That's correct.
The ones chained will release us?
Yes. And unfortunately, they answer very, very directly to those who have imprisoned us. I don't think that 3 of us would be enough to take one of them on, especially not while I'm indoors.
Bielnik, you've got the right spirit. Nindal, I'm disappointed. I turn around. What about you? Who's that?
Directly behind me from the opposite of Bielnik.
Okay. As he kind of presses forward now towards the cage, curiously, you can see this younger man in this unusually kind of plated armor, if you will. He has this large helmet and this long hair that kind of flows down from it. My name's Felgren. I'm definitely good in combat, but I've gotta say, they brought in the orc previously after a bit of a scuffle, and I can tell you right now, he's not weak. I wouldn't lose sight of what he has to say. I wouldn't mind being your fifth if you don't mind. Like I said, he's quite capable. If he's willing to side with you, then I'd be happy to join in.
We just need to be able to get to them. Alright, so if I'm gonna sort of like stand in the center of my cell so I can see all three of them. And I'm gonna point to the side where it appears there's an exit door. And that's the opposite wall of where the three guys are chained, right? So they're gonna enter in through there, walk directly across across this aisle, and over to unchain those three, and then they'll just walk out.
You're asking
all of them, I
Nindal
guess.
or Felgren?
Yeah, and mostly Nindal,
Okay.
since he was the one that was updating me on it.
He kind of like, somewhat exasperated, just kind of presses his body now, turned back around, and drops his weight against the cell door as he grabs the plate of meat at his feet and just starts eating, ignoring what you have to say now.
The orcs of this land have been nothing but a disappointment. I'm gonna lean across towards the bottom now, like I guess the south of the cell, and I'm going to float some of my water up in the air. I don't know what's the distance on that floaty with the water. Let me see. So real fast. Sure. I'll just start floating that like up towards him, and then I'll just do a gust and just blow water, like cold water, at Calagon.
Nice. Okay. As the mist kind of fires off in that direction, Calagon, you hear a very familiar voice, of course, call out to you. And you simply hear the following. He cannot be taken advantage of now, except while wielding it. Get that staff back and use it when he is wreathed in the black electricity. And you hear the sounds of rain as though hitting the top of like a leathered tent. And as the light kind of just dotting of droplets starts to get louder and louder, it's as though you kind of open your eyes to see the light and feel as the rains come dropping down onto your face, and instead you just to see now sitting up, you're looking from your cell directly across now at Cleave, just eye to eye.
Cleave, where's my staff? Where's my staff? Where are we?
We've been locked up. We're in some sort of pre-fight gladiator pit situation.
Just
They want
me
us
and
to
you?
fight each other. Nah, there's a ton of us. Look around.
I'm gonna look around, and I see some people. Is everyone awake around me?
You can see that 3 of the 4 people that you can like immediately make out are awake. I'll say that the woman directly to the south of you is frantically pacing back and forth, and you can see now every now and then as she just like kicks at one of the gates and will walk to the other one and just grab hold and start shaking it violently. Just kind of light grunts. You'll see a shoulder check here and there, and just slowly trying her best to just beat away at different portions and feel out this cage.
Okay. Do I see Arlyn as well, or?
I would say, given the fact that you're kind of like looking around to try to find people, you eventually can see kind of the light misting of his hair. As Arlyn, you can hear now, my power is seamlessly integrated with yours. His is not. Be careful what you do with it. and you can now start to hear the muffled calls of Cleave as now Calagon just kind of looking at you. You start to open your eyes and just looking at him sideways, just kind of head pressed into this like dirtied hay. You can now start to see where there are just a series of figures kind of blurred for a moment as you come to. And you can see just kind of a man sitting there cross-legged in the cell across from you. A woman just going back and forth, kicking her way, and you just hear now her grunts getting louder and louder as you come to full consciousness. And you can see Calagon now pressed against the door of a separate cell.
Ugh. What happened?
Cleave, Arlyn's here.
Where? Calagon, is that you?
Yes.
Where's Cleave?
He's over there. He's across.
Hi. Arlyn.
Cleave, how'd we
Hi.
how'd we get here?
Where's Rodrick?
We must have been brought here. I saw.
Cleave, stop shouting. Do you understand
we
the
can't find
situation we're
Rodrick.
in?
As you can hear Nindal from the other cell shaking his head.
Who's
Eat,
that? Who's
gain
talking
strength. Fight well. We need to decide quickly. We have less than 2 hours before they come for us.
Fine. I turn around and I pace back over to his side of the cell. Finally, I'll just give Calagon a second to wake up, get his bearings.
What do we have to decide?
We have to decide teams. Who will make it and who will not.
I've decided my team. You need to get with the times.
You need to get with the times, he said.
Catch up.
And how do you expect to get out of here so easily? Do you understand the situation?
You said the teams are what? 5 versus 5?
That's correct.
Sounds to me like we've got 10. It's us versus them. That's the teams.
Teams? Are you saying teams?
Calagon, what are you talking about?
Over. You can see as he just tosses one more piece of meat into his mouth.
Gonna finish yours?
Why don't you let me finish yours? Pass me that shrink potion.
I'm sorry.
Come on. You roll it over here. And I do the plan you don't have the nerve to do.
Oh my God, Cleave.
And why would I hand over my very best to some stranger who is quite condescending?
Have I had a full rest, or have I just had the that like just woke up from?
I was gonna ask the same thing. What do we got here?
Yeah, what about me? I was 2 death fails in.
Are we going into a death match with 1 health?
So, you guys are fully rested.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were getting fed
You
before
don't
they
know
what it
before they
was.
took camp, and you can't be on death's door, and
You guys
that
are
would
fully
make sense,
rested.
right?
Okay.
As
Nice.
Nindal just kind of looks to you.
I suppose things were different where you were from. A good meal is always the start of battle.
I can have a good meal
Show
anytime
me
I
your
want.
pride. This generation is different than before. We don't value the things that orcs value. I suppose that's why we are who we are, then. What's your plan? What is it?
How many come in through that door to come and free those 3?
None. It's not a chain system.
A chain system? What does that mean?
It means, he kind of motions over to them. They each have a chain held over their heads. Their hands are held by those chains. When the chains roll, they're released.
Nobody else even comes in here.
No.
So they just have keys on them? Oh, that's magnificent.
You could say that.
That means if you were to shrink right now, it's you versus a tied up guy.
You
You have to understand, they're all very close by. They can probably hear you shouting back and forth.
Well, I'm shouting my friends' names. I'm trying not to talk too loud to you.
Cleave!
What's going on?
5 such
They want us to
potions.
fight each other! Anyway.
Fight each other!
What?
Idiots, you're not supposed to even know that.
Oh, well.
Listen to me, Cleave. I have 5 potions that could potentially get some of us out of these cages. It's not enough. It's not enough unless we choose exceptionally wisely. The second they hear that we're out, all 3 of them are loose. They will release them, and we won't stand a chance at that point. Unless you are exceptionally capable. My next fight is against a giant, and I fear those men. Can you take a giant, Cleave?
Haven't had a chance to try it.
Use the potion to get bigger, and then use the other potion to go back to normal.
Down the other
I
potion.
don't suppose.
Down his throat.
Don't suppose I'd have as much trouble with a potion like yours, but why don't we do this? Yeah, I'm thinking that. Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Why don't you just shrink and go feed the shrinking potions to those other 3? Sneaky like.
I'm an orc. Are the orcs you're familiar with sneaky?
Ah, well, some of my friends are. You could just come over here, as I said, share it, and we'll feed it to them. That should make them easy pickings.
He kind of looks around at the other folks in their cells. You understand, we were chosen because we're strong. You've bypassed the first few rounds already. Each person in here is a threat. To just start releasing you all be a fool's game. Give me a good plan, and I'll consider it.
Well,
But to the south of here is an entire city. To the north is an entire encampment. And as you start listening in, he starts to motion out towards the light that you can see. Just beyond that door, you can hear now as they gather up masses. Countless goblins, orcs, and the like. And you think you can just walk out? Is that the plan? What happens when we get out? It will not last us long enough. They will see us and they will kill us.
I think 10 of us, 5 of us are giants. I like our odds.
Then you're a fool. We would die in an instant.
I'm a fool who carries the power of the wind. I'm a fool who travels with the coolest guy I've ever seen. I'm a fool with a man potentially on the outside, and a fool with another who guides the storms. That team, the size of giants, I don't see who would stop us.
In times past, our kind was unrivaled. As we are today, we're just the husk, the shell of what was. Given the fact that these potions seem to be the greatest strength that we have, it's clear to me that you are of little help.
That I'm what?
Of little help. And he turns away. And you can see as he now stands up, dropping his plate to the ground, and he walks over to the other edge of his cell. And what of you? And you hear as man starts talking kind of muffled whispers behind this kind of slattened wooden mask. And Nindal proceeds just speaking to him for a time.
Cleave.
Calagon,
What's going on?
I've been led to understand that the archaeologist is here. Can you see him?
It's here. I'm gonna look to my
Man kind of
left.
pipes up. Oh, too easy. Yeah, that'd be me. Hey there, boys.
Gene?
Yeah,
Calagon, listen closely.
that's me.
Kill him. No, I'm just kidding.
What happened while I was sleeping?
That was just for me. I'm sorry. No, that was.
As this man now comes up
Arlyn.
from
Gene.
being cross-legged,
Gene.
he stands up. Forgive me, I've been a little lost in study. I heard a bit of a plan. Yeah, guys, you realize that there are like thousands of these guys, right? You really haven't faced any goblins. You guys haven't like looked at the orc armies or anything like that. They're pretty scary. It's not exactly what you want to deal with, you know? I'd say your best bet's going to be probably just fighting, lasting as long as you can, and then dying quickly.
How long have you been here?
Quite heroic.
We've come to save you.
You're doing a great job. Doing swell.
Well, some would say we're closer than we were before.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. And he kind of shouts down. He's like, "Hey guys, how's saving me been so far? Anyone?
Yeah, it's not bad. We've already infiltrated.
This was all part of the plan.
Yeah. From my experience, not gone well. Most of them are dead. And he's like, hey guy on the end, funky mask. Where's your party at? Remember your party? The guys you came here with? Yeah, guys. You guys aren't the first to see the breadcrumbs, you know? I've left them everywhere. And, yeah. It's not gone so well for any of the people so far. Unfortunately, we seem to be in the final stretch, so... Good luck, but, I'm less than hopeful, admittedly.
Kinda don't want to save you anymore. Do you know what happened to my staff?
They seem to take everything with them as kind of treasures, spoils of war.
Do I have my sword?
I see
start looking
Cleave
around.
has his shield. And do you have your sword, Arlyn?
And, you do, yeah.
Yeah, it's right here.
Can I look inside my person and see if I have any of my other objects?
You don't currently.
Now, is it my sword, or is it the sword that Cleave gave me?
What
like, "Let
sword
me
would
make
you
this
have been
interesting."
wielding during that last fight?
My father's sword.
Then that is the sword you have currently.
All right. And my shield.
Yeah.
And my shield. And I have my shield.
I'm gonna turn to the woman south of me that's kicking everything.
Okay.
And you? Do you have a weapon?
No, you won't let me.
Okay.
Just kind of kicks at the door directly in front of you, and you just start slamming at it repeatedly.
Okay.
Okay, well then.
Who are we fighting? Where are we fighting? When are we fighting?
We're fighting?
Fighting?
Cleave? What do you
We're
know?
Fighting Cleave?
I don't know much. I just know this is some kind of gladiator situation. People fight here.
Oh. So we're gonna be fighting each other?
That's what I want to prevent.
Have you tried to get out of here? Is there any weakness? Is there...
There's a lot of weaknesses. Most of them are in that cell over there.
Felgren,
Just
you with me then?
I
And
technically can...
Felgren pipes up. Yeah, I guess I'm with you then, Nindal. Thanks for the offer.
Technically, I can get out whenever I please, but don't think I would survive according to our last battle.
He says, "That's 3."
3?
Can I? You said the ground is hay. Is it dirt under the hay?
It seems to be stone under the hay.
Of course it's stone. Okay. Well, I don't even have a weapon if I were to leave. They took mine, but not anybody else's.
Maybe it's because your power doesn't necessarily have to be wielded by hand.
It's a walking stick.
Huh. To the common eye, maybe.
Well, what do we
Older
do?
gentleman
What do we
pipes
do?
up from beside you. I'm not a special fan of these scraggle-toothed monstrosities. I've
Talking to me?
overheard. And he kind of nods your way, and you can see now this kind of white-haired man who's got his hair just kind of all slicked back directly, and he's got this kind of opened tan tunic. They're not fools, you know. Should they notice something of any special threat, they will hold on to it until it's time for your fight. You won't get it back until you exit those doors.
I need my staff. I can't do anything without my staff. Arlyn, do we have a plan? Cleave, what do we do?
Perhaps you need a fourth, then.
Fourth, we have a fourth. He's not here.
For the teams, I meant. I wouldn't mind my shot at that orc.
Are you any good in
Teams.
battle?
I am.
Are you?
Wait.
I can be
Is it
helpful.
5 of us versus the other 5?
I don't know. He said something about teams.
Case.
Have you been
5.
here during a round of this, or?
Only listening in. I've heard what the orcs had to say.
Cleave, we might have to fight. Is there anyone on that side that you think is worthy?
No. Maybe this one. Bjelnik. I like what he's got to offer.
Bjelnik.
Okay.
The one behind me seems feisty.
What do you think, Bjelnik?
But we're here to save Gene. He must be on our team. Even though he's no help.
We don't need him. He's no help. And then I want to wink really big at Gene from like that one.
Well, we're already 3.
Make a deception check.
We're already 3. We just need...
My natural 20. Finally.
Amazing.
Let's go. With a +1.
Bjelnik kind of nods for a moment. Yeah, I like that. Without that one, we've got much better odds.
That was a great 20.
That's
glad that happened.
you 3, the old man and myself. I think
But what about
we
Gene?
stand a pretty good chance.
We don't need him. Throw him to the other team. And I look once again at Gene. I'm just like, where only you can see me. He and Calagon.
Oh, good. Okay, this is getting fun. All right. Yep. I guess I'm just with the psycho woman and the orc and the runaway.
Seem like you're ready to
That's
die,
fine.
Gene.
I've been chased around and bullied by orcs. I've been tortured by hobgoblins, and I've been stuck in a cage for about 3 days now.
But you're alive.
Barely. Yes.
That must mean something. What do you bring to them that's valuable? Why are you still alive? You're not a warrior.
So you didn't get my messages then?
Messages.
Messages?
What are you people after? Why
You.
do you know my name?
We've come to take you back.
Back to where? Exactly.
The Vindrel Dynasty.
Ah, there it is. The Vindrel Dynasty. Okay. Top picks.
Okay.
What's going on?
Couple of assassins.
Are you not a part of the Vindrel dynasty? The ambassador told us to retrieve you from a mission that you were sent on.
And take you back to the waking dawn.
Or
Right?
to the ambassador,
Are you
really.
lot-
but-
Are you lot with the Vindrel dynasty, or are you guys just doing your own thing here?
We're ambassadors of our own.
We like to do our own thing.
Wow.
We necessarily have somehow become associated, but
Let's just
we
say
do our own thing.
we're doing a favor.
Yes, that's more like it.
Okay. This is different than the last ones then.
Can you explain yourself, please?
Yeah. You guys are all working for a bunch of bloodthirsty assassins, and
What?
it seems that I will be too soon if you guys are at all successful. So that's a nice touch.
Huh.
So we don't need to bring you back.
Well,
honestly,
Okay, who's the strongest here?
I promised my services to whoever could save me from this.
and what are your services? Looking at rocks.
You guys are completely clueless. This is great. This is fantastic.
You're an archaeologist, are you not?
You could say that, yeah. I'm an archaeologist. That is definitely my trade. I have been kind of sold off to the highest bidder, if you will. I set a series of messages, leaving behind breadcrumbs, messages of myself speaking at different points throughout this nation, and at every turn I gave different hints and different whereabouts, and essentially I promised myself to the first person who could save me. If that's the Vindrel dynasty, then so be it. They've been after me for a time, but one way or another, it seems that every nation wants me. Some to kill me,
But
some to use me.
why?
I have a unique ability. Well, two to be exact.
If it's so
I
unique,
can-
you wouldn't be behind bars.
Not saying that they're powerful. I'm not a combatant by any means, but I can see into times past. I get glimpses of history as though they were taking place in the present. And then, thanks to Felgren's people, I was able to track down a certain hidden power, along with a little bit of history as to what happened to the Vale. And a few other bastions.
Huh.
So is Felgren a friend? An ally?
No, but if you can't tell by his armor, he's an escapee. He was one of the few fortunate enough to get away before the creature got to him.
The creature. What creature?
I'm so glad you asked. You know, I was hoping to really reserve story time for being saved, but admittedly I've lost most of my hope there, so why not showcase it one final time? And as he backs up into the corner of his cell, you can see now this small-scale figurine appear, as though illusory, with a light, dull glow to it, this kind of deep emerald green. And he says, "This little trick I picked up from them specifically." And you can see now the makings of this stronghold. And as he proceeds to replay the events of the Vale's final moments, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break.
No!
That was
Everybody
great.
can level up.
No way! Let's go! Let's go!
Finally!
That's so awesome.
It's a wrap for everything here. I'm the most
Wow.
powerful being in this universe.
Wow!
Do you have any idea how
Boom.
much level 2 does for me? Level 2 is probably my biggest level up that I
Wow.
have ever, the whole time.
All right,
Let's
and
go.
as we wrap up there for a moment, we will be back briefly in about 10 minutes. Love you guys.
Oh.
So I'll stick with it.
Hello and welcome back. Now with our players at level 2 for their characters, they have now started forming teams within this kind of goblin and or hobgoblin orcish prison system as they set forth now to join in on this kind of gladiator battle in what they've been told by a fellow orc is going to be a 5 versus 5 combat to the death. As they find finally, after all this time searching, their mark, their target, the archaeologist, Gene Canito, he instantly opens up about the final moments of a dying bastion, as though almost using it as a way to egg on one of the other prison members. As he does so, taking in the knowledge and seeing the inner workings of this bastion at play, each of you guys, now bolstered by this, you can start to see where Gene continues further on, down into the depths, deeper than what you had previously seen. And he starts telling you guys about these 4 figures. And he says to you, it's said that each of them will be taken from the 4 corners of the earth, and they'll be known as the 4 Horsemen. It's said that when they come, everything's over. And that's about the gist of what I learned down there. Fortunately, I'm running short on power currently, but maybe a little later after some rest I could show you those who invaded along with the specifics of what's below.
Hang on, I'm sorry, real fast. I was still leveling up to level 2 over here. Was is this Gene Canito just telling us?
Yeah,
about,
part of the story.
About us, like in person. He like in character. He's telling.
He doesn't know that we
yeah.
are.
I don't know. I'm just saying that he's telling us that. Okay.
Within these bastions, there seems to be all sorts of hidden knowledge about the start of how they were all built, the weapons, the keys. Each one apparently had some sort of different, unique weapon assigned to them. And yeah, those things seem to be holding back some sort of power. There's a good chance it has to do with those 4.
They must be pretty strong.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But in time.
Oh, if only they were here. We could probably be free of this place. Untold powers.
That makes sense. It's an interesting one. But if they had anything to do with creating the bastions, then I'll tell you this much. They're more powerful than you could imagine.
Creating the bastions.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I've seen a few different things here and there, and I won't give away my entire hand just yet. But there are a few hidden figures that seem to be working behind the scenes. And it's this knowledge that I have to kind of keep to myself, otherwise there's no reason they should keep me alive at this point. So of course, I'll keep my mouth shut still. But you get me out of here safely and we'll talk.
Sounds good. I think we should keep this guy safe.
And the older gentleman beside you, Calagon, pipes up again. So, us two, the half-orc, Bjelnik across the way here, and your friend shouting from the corner. Is that our 5?
Arlyn, who should we choose? I think...
I fear if our friend Gene here is not on our team.
Cleave, do you know anyone that has an advantage here? On your side. No?
We have the advantage. Anyone who seeks to have any success would do well to side with us.
How about that fella to the left of you, or your right? Jean seems to already be familiar with that guy. Felgrain?
Pelgrin? Ah, he's alright. Seems like a pretty good guy. I've enjoyed him. Let me just, as I'm talking, I want to be up against that side of the cage or whatever, just talking to Calagon, and I want to glance to my left and take a look at these three guys that are chained up. First of all, so they're chained up, hands above their heads. Is that what it is? Wow, super uncomfortable. Their arms are gonna be exhausted. How do I see keys on them?
No.
I'm gonna address them really fast. So you blokes, you don't participate in this round?
You can see that the three of them are just head down, arms up, staring at the ground. As though asleep, but clearly not.
Okay.
I told you, Cleave. They're not with us.
I want to go back to him. I'll hold up like a hand for Calagon, turn back around towards Nindal. Do you know where they keep their keys? Whispering. Stage whisper, sort of.
I told you. Give me a plan, and then I'll consider it. Otherwise, I'll have to form a team of my own.
Well, if they let all 10 of us out, then I suppose we don't need to take their keys, do we?
They don't let us out at once.
Ah, yeah. Smart for them, eh? If I could prove to you that I have what it takes to do the plan, would that be enough?
I suppose so. There's no reason why not if you can prove yourself.
Then once again, do they carry keys on them?
In essence, no. It is a compilation, a conjoined effort by the three that's required. It is the strength that they have that's able to pull levers on the outside of each. They seem to be blended in largely, but they're there. He kind of points up well above your head, off to the corner. It's nowhere you'd be able to reach just simply. And he kind of gives like a squinted glance. If you look to those three, they're much taller than they seem, being held down in that way. They're not normal. They are something else.
I'm not going to be able to do any sort of plan if I don't understand the ins and outs of this place.
You must be very tall and very strong. There are hatches. That's how you get out. Each of them is a half-giant. And each of them is required to be able to pull a single lever.
Yeah, that's not easy. If only we had Rodrick here. Come back down, facing Calagon. Oh, man. What do I want to do?
Rodrick, left or right?
Right.
Okay.
Do they sick animals on us in here?
It's not unheard of.
Can we anticipate that being... Sorry, I'm going back to that guy. Can we anticipate that being part of this, or is there no way of knowing?
Make a persuasion check.
5.
Probably, Cleave. Probably.
And where do they keep those?
As much as I'd love to answer all of your questions, if you've not come up with a plan and if you've not come up with proof, then Cleave, I'm afraid, I cannot be of further help to you.
Fine.
I'm gonna sit slumped in the corner of my cell where I'm out of most of their view. And then I'm going to start meditating for a few minutes.
Everybody, just give me a moment.
And after about 10 minutes, I'm gonna smirk and I'm gonna look behind me over my shoulder to Calagon. And I'm just gonna put my hand to my lips like this, my finger. And then I'm gonna shrink and turn into a squirrel.
Rodrick, make for me a perception check.
Whoa.
18.
18. Okay. You can hear now the kind of muffled shouts behind the stone walls as you navigate your way through this city towards where you saw that Barry had last pinpointed your allies, and tracking now towards this Colosseum. You see the entryway, and it's largely unguarded from the outside. You can see where they've been put. Would you like to enter? Or would you like to stay on the outside and take perhaps the audience view? I will give a little bit of added information. To the far south, there is water, there are boats, there are hobgoblins and that massive flying creature, along with the ginormous beasts of burden and things of that nature. Just below the Colosseum, where you've just passed, you saw a jousting championship, if you will, going where riders were prepping on giant ostriches. And having passed that up, you're able to make your way now to this Colosseum. You see their entry along with the audience entry. What would you like to do? It's prisoner entry, I should say, versus audience entry.
Not the center entry. I want to find... Okay, I have a plan coming in. I need to find any kind of local, either a local merchant or anybody that seems like a guard that would have any kind of power or insight to what happens around this town.
Okay. So, make an investigation check.
Okay. 1.
Okay.
Let's run out.
It's very much like a worker ant kind of environment here. And you get the sense that without fully stopping and kind of blowing your cover by like halting the way that they seem to have a regulated flow, it would be very difficult to find out who's doing what unless you spend like an hour just tracking their general paths.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I don't have that much time. Okay, then I'm going to go to a local merchant then.
Okay. Sure. Not an impossibility for sure. As you find your way through, just kind of slowly blending in with the crowds, grabbing hold. Would you like, first and foremost, to leave the Sandwalkers outside or try to bring them through with you?
I will... Is there a place that I can tie them up?
Yeah, absolutely. Right outside. And there's like a full feeding trough and everything.
I'll go ahead and tie them up there.
Okay. Alright. So then those will be just outside. Okay. And heading on in, you're able to find your way up to what seems to be a merchant stall. It is a little bit kind of higher up. You're able to kind of make your way up, and as you kind of climb these stairs, you can see that there is this hobgoblin seated, perched at the top, just kind of rummaging through a series of supplies.
Okay. I am going to go up to him and say, Hey! Hey, you!
What?
You seem like you know your way around this part.
Of course I do. What are you doing up here?
Well, I'm new. I was set this way. I come from an encampment down south. We were attacked, you see.
Okay.
And they've sent me so that I can reconvene with more goblins. My name's Kipple. And I can make it with all your while.
What do you want, Kipple?
You see, I'm what they call a harvester
The what?
of these. I'm gonna open my, kind of like my cloak leather thing, right? And you're gonna see all of the bags of stones all tied to my waistband. So you just see a bunch of bags, and I'm gonna pull out the bag of gems that I had looted from the goblins in that first altercation with the fire.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show them the bag of gems. So to make it seem like I have a ton of gems all over me.
Nice. Make a deception check. At advantage.
$16.
They send a goblin with that. What are you doing?
Well, I harvest gems, rare gems of all kinds.
Very good. Should you not be in the mine?
Yes, you see, I was sent from the mine, and they sent me with these rare gems.
Okay.
And I can harvest more.
Then do your job.
Well, you see, for these kinds of gems, there's one rare ingredient I need.
Are you intentionally leaving me on edge? What are you waiting for?
What?
What are you waiting for?
Okay. Calm down. Things that matter, they deserve time and care. And they also require the scales of a dragonborn.
Fair enough.
Have you seen any of these parts lately?
I've seen one. Yes.
What color was it?
It was something dark.
Dark. Dark, like the night sky as the sun goes down.
Sounds right enough. Yes.
You do not know what you find.
It's not ours.
That is a gem dragonborn. All of this on me. I can make millions more with its scales.
Then I'm sure they have a plan. He went with the new ones.
The new. And where have they sent the new ones?
Sent them to fight.
To fight! Do they see that they throw a gold mine into the pits.
I'm sure they know what they're doing.
They can't possibly know what they're doing. Who was he with?
Kultron,
Coltron.
you see my point.
Yes. But you don't understand. Coltron gathers individuals. This is a rare individual. Only specialists like me understand the true value of a gem dragonborn.
That you understand better than Kultron.
Listen, Coltron has not been where I am. This stays between you and me. I can make you rich beyond your means. Here is a wager. I take out... It's 50 gold worth of gems. I'm going to take out 15 gold worth of the gems in the bag, and I'm
Okay.
going to hand it to him.
He puts his hand out a bit hesitantly.
This is just the beginning. Don't you dream of a world where work is no more. Oh, sorry.
What do you want?
Take me to the Dragonborn.
Give me 5 minutes.
5 minutes you will have.
And he kind of vanishes behind this curtain back inside with what you can see for a moment is just a small, I almost said like gaggle, like a small posse of other hobgoblins. And you can tell that one of them seems to be like leading the charge. And as he kind of walks in for a moment, he walks right back out with another hobgoblin.
He'll need some too.
I assume you spoke of our arrangement.
I needed to tell someone.
And what is your name?
Doesn't matter my name. Won't let it be heard after this. You said this stays between us, right?
Stays between us. And you know what else stays between us? Riches beyond our wildest dreams. I take out another 15 gold worth of gems and I give it to the hobgoblin.
Thank you. He just kind of pockets it. And you watch as these two now walk their way down. The first one you had spoken to, he kind of whispering and laughing, side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the other one, just kind of walks his way down. And you can hear where he's speaking to him lightly, and then he'll eventually pipe up and kind of call back to you. He says,
Do you need him before the fight? Separately? Are we to put him into the fight still, or do you need him out?
I need him out.
Very good.
Every strike against his precious scales is another gem that could have your name on it.
Ah, yes. Okay.
and as he kind of like leans back and starts walking a little bit slower, listening to you saying that, he kind of motions forward and he's,
Haldak, show us the way.
and he kind of walks back with him.
Haldak will be his replacement. We must be quick.
And he starts walking off towards
Deceiving little buggers, these
My
goblins.
goodness.
the Colosseum, and you can now hear the roar of the masses within. As you can see, deep within. Oh yeah, look at that. Didn't hide those guys yet. You can see as the crowds start to fill this place, and you get a minor visual from from towards the outside. You can just see goblin after goblin, hobgoblin after hobgoblin, just escorting different creatures in and out of this place. And as you can see, some wrapping around towards the right side to go towards the creature stables. He kind of calls back, and you hear the guy up front.
Left. Left is where they keep the people. That is where we'll find him.
And
Lead the way.
pushing forward, he heads in, and the one just stops
says, "Listen to me. When we go in, there will be a brief moment where we must free 3 of them. When we do so, do not listen to anyone inside. It is a rule that we do not accept any bribes from those within. They are lies. But we must be quick. When we release that one, we will throw this one in its place."
Okay.
Very well.
And kind of walking in with you, rather than going right where you had initially intended. It's giving me a bit of a hard time here. Alright. He kind of slows his pace for a moment. And he's like,
Hey, remember this much. When we push forward, there are many more of us. They stay quiet within. Do not let them see you. I will create an entrance.
and he just kind of puts a hand out for a moment and he says,
Let me take this for a moment.
and you can hear where there are slight light-like whispers and chatters around the corner, and he just kind of vanishes. And you hear over the course of the next few minutes this low creaking, and eventually the clattering of chains as it just starts.
Quick.
And as he grabs hold of you, he starts walking you closer towards, just kind of waving you over. He's like, come on. And you can tell that he's very rushed and kind of stands in the walkway as he just kind of waves you past. Quick. You going with him directly, or are you looking to follow your own plan here? What's your goal?
I'm looking to go with him directly.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Then you get a clear shot as he pushes past what looks to be a kind of hidden entryway here. He grabs hold of these chains held up against the wall, and with one, quick pull, you see that the manacles themselves are actually a lever. And grabbing at them, he pulls it open, and this door swings open, revealing this lower chamber. And he just kind of rushes you through. As you guys enter, he kind of calls back to the other one. He says,
Stay there for one moment.
And,
Wait. Before you leave,
What?
would you consider me a friend?
No.
Charm person.
amazing.
Wait, what'd you say?
Uh-huh. Did he just cast a spell?
Oh,
What's the save on that one?
13.
13? Yeah, that's
person.
definitely a fail.
Oh my gosh.
See, as he says this, he kind of stops and,
Well, not a friend, but useful. Ally, associate. What did you say your name was again?
My name is Kipple.
Kipple. Make me rich and we'll be best friends.
Be my best friend and I'll make you rich.
Easily done.
I need 2 more.
2 more what?
2 more fighters.
make a flat persuasion check.
Let's go.
Flat, like he can't add his
No modifiers?
No, you can add your modifiers, just no advantage or anything of the sort, despite him being charmed, because he's risking his neck to do so.
Oh, come on.
This guy's killing it.
22.
Carrying the team. Carrying the team tonight.
And I closed my eyes because I was too scared of that roll.
Crazy. We all need to order. Send a link. I want to buy your die.
Somebody bought them for me. I don't even
Oh,
As
man.
you say this, he kind of shakes his head for a moment.
Fine. But it's not gonna be without sacrifice. Are they allies?
They are my shopkeepers.
Okay. Can they fight?
Can they fight? Depends what means.
We'll need to be quick.
And as he kind of rounds this corner, you see that these three creatures, these three figures, I should say, you can see their body weight lowering as you can see these three men with arms held over their head now just slowly drop to the floor. As you can see, they have these kind of chains between their wrists. And looking up at the hobgoblin, all three of them now kind of walk closer towards him. And he just looks to them, says, "Release the three that he says. Replace them with goblins. You'll find them around the corner. Then get back in place." And as the three now walk towards you, he kind of motions you further. "Find them quickly. We don't have time. The show's going to start soon."
So I have to find the goblins?
You have to find your three.
My
quickly.
three people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
So I will walk on over.
Yeah. He told these three to release who you told him to.
You're saying I have to just point out my people, right?
Yeah,
So
essentially.
I'm gonna point out Calagon, I'm gonna point out Cleave, and I'm gonna point out Arlyn.
I'm currently a squirrel.
Unfortunately, as you go to look,
crap,
you see
that's
as these
true.
three, now first and foremost, seeing
Cleave's a squirrel.
Calagon, they all join forces.
As we are walking, I'm going to whistle the tune of Any Survivors.
Nice. Very good. Very, very good.
Immediately calls
David,
my
you're killing
attention.
Give him inspiration.
Killing
I
it,
like that.
killing
Yeah, for sure. I'm in. Yep. You got inspiration.
That's awesome.
Now, Cleave, as you see these guys round the corner, you just drop into form. And having just been speaking to Nindal, he kind of, shocked, looks your way. "I'm in. You've proven yourself."
With my little squirrel hands, I'm like. And then I
Kind
wait.
of
I messaged the
Leans
these guys,
down
I don't
on
know if you
all
saw it.
fours, and he reaches for a potion. "Am I out? Getting out now?"
Yeah, those have little squirrel fingers. I'll be like.
Understood. Just say when.
As they're discussing, I'm actually gonna obviously have not noticed Cleave because I never seen him turn into an
for
animal.
sure.
So I'm gonna tell the goblin,
I'm gonna run into.
"One's missing. What have you done with him?"
I'm gonna run into
Okay.
Calagon, and I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna point to the archaeologist.
Okay. So as Cleave now scurries on over into Calagon's now open cage, you see directly as these three giant humans all drop their weight on this massive lever, and you can see as slowly this gate just rises, and as they start to let loose the grip, you see that it immediately starts closing opposite the lever. And Calagon kind of steps out for that brief moment with a small squirrel in tow.
Cheek's very full of good berries. I'm gonna pull a good berry out of my cheek and be like,
I'm gonna say, what is this? And I'm gonna look at Elwood,
Nothing.
and then you're gonna be whistling though, right?
I have been whistling,
yeah.
but I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna say, "Nothing that you care for, dragon."
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna look to Arlyn, and I'm gonna say, "Where is he?
Where's who?
Where is Shopkeep 2?
Shopkeep 2.
Shopkeep 2 is right there, and I'm gonna point at Jean and wink.
How would you know?
Just kind of nods and smokes
How would
at
you know? I'm gonna walk up to Jean. and
Unexpected.
I'm gonna walk up to Jean. Is he inside of the cage?
Yes.
Come here.
All right.
I'm gonna inspect his face.
Kind of
Run my
peels
fingers
back a little
down
bit.
his nose.
Immediately just
Tickle his chin. This is the one.
he kind of looks over, half knowingly at Calagon. I hope you know what you're doing. I really do.
I'm not doing anything. He is.
Fair enough.
Pipe down, dragon.
As the three now head his way, and one after the next grab hold of this massive lever, eventually releasing him, along with the three of you lot. Okay.
Freaking turned into a squirrel, and you gave me my third
That's
slot,
two.
dude. That was very
crazy,
smart.
Elwood.
The hobgoblin now.
Wow.
One more, quickly.
One more.
I think you got Gene and him, right?
Gene and
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah.
then I
So
would
now
get
it's
Arlyn. Arlyn was I had already identified him as a shopkeep because
Yeah.
that's why I asked him.
Asked me.
But I'm not gonna ask the dragon. The dragon doesn't know who my shopkeep is.
Okay.
The heck, I'm about to flay him,
Cool.
descale him.
Supposedly.
Well, when you asked for a shopkeep, I thought it was like you're gonna kill somebody. So I was like, him, Gene.
And sure enough, one after the next, you watch as they go in and release your
No.
three allies.
Way.
Do I see my
Bribery, man.
staff
That's-
And
anywhere around?
the hobgoblin says, "All right, come on, let's get out of here quickly."
Okay.
As they turn around, I want to run and give the signal to homeboy with the shrink potions and start pointing at other cells where I'm like them too. Sneak out in everybody's pockets.
The older gentleman beside Calagon will probably say, "Boys, do remember, you'd formed other allies down here." And kind of looking on curiously, who are you going to point at?
I want everybody that's allied with us at all. I want him because he has what? How many shrink potions?
5.
5. Shoot, we're good.
Yeah.
How many of these guys would you like to release? And which
Felgrin.
ones?
Oh man.
I definitely want to get
Him,
crazy
Felgrin.
guy. I like Felgrin a lot. Yeah.
You like
What was-
Felgrin?
Bjelnik. Big Bjelnik. fan.
Bjelnik, okay.
1, 2.
I feel like Bjelnik might be a mistake. It's not like a happy name.
No,
but-
he's a crazy person,
So
but that might
that's
be useful.
3 right there. Nindal, Felgrin, and Bjelnik. Do you want to release the...
Now, what's going on over here? He's got
wooden
he's got
masked
a
one?
Bloodhawk and somebody else. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Do I see my staff anywhere in this room? No? Great.
oh, there's 2 people in this cell down there.
Mm-hmm.
Where at?
The hunter?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, there was not supposed to be. Forgive me.
Okay.
That was something
So
else.
it's him. So everybody adjacent to me so far. That's 3, and then there would only be. So there's 3 more. So we have the possibility to not free 1 person basically.
There's technically 3 more.
Oh boy.
One person, that's including the woman on the bottom.
So, yeah, there's a masked person up top, along with a Bloodhawk in that cell. And then there's a woman to the south, and the older gentleman that was beside Calagon. So you guys have 3 potions used between Bjelnik, Felgrin, and Nindal.
So I have 2 more with 3 more people, plus a Bloodhawk.
Yes.
Okay. Masked guy was already aligned with Nindal, so I feel like he's a given.
Okay.
So we'll throw him in.
Was he aligned? I think Nindal just asked, what about you? Like,
Yeah, how'd that go?
are you an
What do I
ally?
know?
Or,
He was clearly allied with him.
okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep him.
The woman seems pretty ungrateful. I'm not gonna lie.
Her
You
toe
hear
hurts.
from behind the gate. I'm not leaving without it. As you point towards the masked person, and you can tell that he's implying he will not step foot out of his cage without his Bloodhawk.
Is Bloodhawk like caged? I thought it was just with him.
The Bloodhawk is in its own smaller cage within the cell.
He couldn't break it.
Take the cage with you, maybe? Is it tied to a wall or chained to a wall?
If
or
he
something?
were to shrink, the Bloodhawk would still be just in his own cage within the cell.
I'm gonna walk right up to him, sit outside the gate, go like this with my little squirrel hands, and then just be like, and then I'm gonna run and just give the potions to the other two people. I'm leaving that guy behind.
That's
He
great.
chose his fate.
Incredible.
I will say,
There are 3 people still left technically, right? Because no, I'm sorry. You got Bjelnik.
Yeah, I'm just
so you're
leaving
gonna
one-
give
okay.
one to the older gentleman
Even though
and
I
one
respect his love for his
to the
animal.
woman down in the south cage, south cell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
And then we're all gonna
As-
climb under people's freaking like outerwear, all their robes and jackets.
These 3 kind of run off. I would like for you guys each then to make a stealth check if
Oh
you
boy,
are
this is a high
shrunken.
stakes.
So Joel specifically, and
Oh,
I guess
man.
just the NPCs at this point.
Oh no. That's so.
Oh my goodness. No way.
Well, it's not great, but it's okay. It's a 10.
Okay. Cool. As you guys now start to kind of scurry behind, trying to stay out of their notice, you watch as one after the next, Nindal just kind of passes some potions out, and you see Bjelnik, Felgren, and eventually this other woman shrink down. Nindal comes down south, and he releases the white-haired man as well. And each of them just kind of follows you closely, just kind of going wherever you point. With the slight exceptions of Bjelnik and this woman, who immediately start fighting
Each other?
each other.
Like little
Oh,
mad tiny.
And
just
so
I think they're both
teeny
pirates.
tiny, angry little
Pirates that hate each
teeny
other.
tiny people just immediately start cursing one another and full swing, no weapons
Pick
in
'em up,
hand,
hey.
just like kicks to the chest, rolling around with this massive hay now over top their bodies and just causing a serious stir as now this hobgoblin
Ah.
catches note of these two just rolling around in absolute tyranny, just nonsense. Felgren, unfortunately, is caught in this gaze as he stands there in shock, looking the hobgoblin dead in the eye. And that's where we're going to pick up next week.
Man.
Bro.
goodness.
David.
How did we escape?
David, for real, David.
MVP.
MVP tonight.
Wow.
Wow. Your
You
roles
guys
and your
know
strategy.
how long it took me to
Crazy.
put all of these tokens so carefully in this stupid ginormous coliseum, only for you guys to
To not
just
use it.
charisma your way through it all.
Oh my
Staff,
God.
though.
Yeah.
Where's my staff,
We'll find it.
though?
I'm gonna get your stuff.
We'll find it.
How?
Yeah, that's
We'll find it. We just need to get you guys out of here.
that's something.
That is
But my
true.
staff is in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
but we need to get you guys out of the building, and then we can devise a plan to get the staff.
Go back in and get the staff?
He can turn into animals.
Yeah, but, I mean, jeez.
I might look for it right now. I'm a squirrel.
I'm a squirrel. I'm just gonna look around for it.
Let me ask one final
man.
question before we fully close out.
Uh-huh.
Rodrick, where is Barry in this time?
Barry. I did not call Barry to me. I left him circling.
Okay. Good to know. And with that, we'll see you guys back here next week. Love you. God bless. See you
no,
next
man.
time.
See ya.
Hey guys, I'm Joel Castro. I play Cleave Sturban on Divine Inspirations, The Four Horsemen, and I want to talk about the person of God, the person of Jesus, how they're the same. One of the biggest misconceptions is that somehow the God of the Old Testament is a very different person from the God of the New Testament. And I think we should understand, we should know very well who God is. Everybody should. So one of the biggest examples you'll find is in Matthew 22, verses 34 to 40. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. And one of them, a man of the law, asked a question to test him. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And he said to them, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second one is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments depend all the law and the prophets. Now, what he was probably expecting to hear is one of the 10 commandments, and nothing that he just named was explicitly one of the 10 commandments. So you kind of wonder, like, oh, why? Maybe this is such a different God, different teachings. He's saying that those things don't matter, but that's not what he said. In verse 40, he said, "On these 2 commandments depend all of the law and the prophets." So, if we want to harken back to the 10 commandments themselves, what you find is that you could sort of divide them into 2 sections: the parts about loving God and the parts about loving people. As the first 4 start there, that's the most important commandment, and then a second is like it, to love people. And then there's sort of a dependent statement. This is supposed to say yourself, that's my mistake, but there's a dependent part that says, if you love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. We expect that you love yourself. So we have, I am Yahweh, your God. You shall put no other gods before me. Number 2, you shall not make yourself any graven images that you put before me. Number 3, you shall not take my name in vain. Right? If we value him, if he's the most important in our lives, we won't put another God before him. We won't put anything on earth before him. We won't besmirch his name. We won't make it seem worthless. Also, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Jesus also says that commandment was a gift to us, right? So if we honor God, it comes back around so that he can bless us, right? And that's where we're going to tie back into, if you love yourself, you'll follow these, right? So if you love yourself and you love God, then you will keep the Sabbath day holy. And so then we move on to the love people section. Honor your father and mother. So that is also a crossover part from God, because your father and mother, that relationship is supposed to be representative of our relationship with God, right? So if you love God, and if you love yourself, and if you love others, then you will honor your father and mother. And also that one comes with a promise, that so that you may live long and a good life, right? So then we move on to, what is this? 6. All right, so you shall not kill. Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. Number 8, you shall not steal. Number 9, you shall not bear false witness. Number 10, you shall not covet. If you love God, yourself, and other people, you will not destroy people's lives. You will not try to break apart their marriages. You won't use a woman or a man that is not your spouse, right? You won't try to steal someone. You won't try to steal anybody's things. You won't try to bear false witness against them to besmirch their name, right? If you love others, if you love yourself and you're able to love yourself, if you're able to love others the same way, why would you want to benefit yourself at their cost, right? So Jesus' teachings depend on or are related to, right, to the law. It's never to cancel it out. And you'll find that's true in a lot more verses than just here. But I just wanted you guys to kind of get that for now. So we'll pray it out. Dear Lord, thank you so much for your law, for your teachings. Thank you that they're here in a way that benefits us as well. That you love us, you follow all these. You love us as you love yourself. And we're just so grateful for that. And we ask that as we go about living our lives, that it always comes with these things in mind, that we never put ourselves first, and that anytime we make a decision about how we're going to act, it comes always with divine inspiration. In the name of Jesus, amen. See you guys next week.